This is how to use the cutout filter in Photoshop Creative Cloud 2018. So you need to start. Step one is to open Adobe Photoshop from your start menu in the bottom left corner. You're going to need to scroll down through your various Adobe products to choose Photoshop Creative Cloud 2018. I have mine open already so that you wouldn't have to wait for it to load. So once it's open, you can click Open here, or you can choose File, Open. But either way, you want to open wherever your image file is. So mine is here, and I'm going to choose Open. So it will open in a new window for me to edit. First thing we need to do is crop. On your left side, you have your crop tool. And in the drop-down menu at the top, we're going to select Ratio. In the first box, I'd like you to have a 9. And in the second box, I'd like you to have an 8. So we want our image to be 9 inches wide by 8 inches tall. And this is going to make sure that we have the right ratio. Once you have that selected, you may want to adjust this viewfinder up and down until you have the part of the person that you want. So generally cutting off somebody's chin is odd. So if you have to make a choice, cut off part of the top of their head, and that tends to make a little bit more sense. Once you're happy with your crop, choose Enter, and all of that cropping stuff goes away. Next, you're going to set the right size for your image to print as. So go to Image, Image Size, and currently the original size is like 2 inches, and we need it to be bigger than that. So we want 8 inches for height. So I'm going to select it and hit 8. And my width should be pretty much 9. Every once in a while that 8 by 9 crop is not perfect. And so in this case it's not, but 8.985 is close enough to 9 that it's good enough. You don't need to mess with anything else, just select OK. Now I'm going to Control minus so that's not quite so big. Before we do anything to the filter, we're going to make this grayscale. So Image, Mode, Grayscale. When you're asked to discard, just discard. Now we can go to our filter gallery. So Filter, Filter Gallery, and you're going to select the cutout filter. You can see I was already on it, so it's already selected. With the cutout filter, I'd like you to have anywhere between 3 and 5 levels. That means numbers of shades of gray. So if I go to 3, it gets very simplified. If I go to 4, it's not working for me. 5 is still not great. The Edge Simplicity slider does a lot. You can see it gets very simplified or very complex. Edge Fidelity, I don't see a lot of huge changes on that, so you're welcome to mess with it how you want. But if you can't find anything that makes you happy, select Cancel, and there's a few adjustments you can make. I like to choose Auto Contrast, just right off the bat. But even more important, in adjustments, you can adjust the brightness and contrast. If you up the brightness, because right now his skin is kind of a medium gray, and the contrast especially will make greater contrast between the lights and darks, and then choose OK. Now if you go back to Filter and Filter Gallery, you'll see that the same thing that we had before suddenly looks a whole lot better. In fact, I'm quite happy with that. It is supposed to be relatively abstracted. So I'm going to go ahead and choose OK. So remember, 3 to 5 levels. Simplicity can be whatever you want as long as your person is recognizable. And fidelity is kind of up to you. I don't see a change there. Once I've selected OK, I'm actually ready to print this. So I'm going to select File, Print. And in the drop down, I'm going to make sure that I've selected B120, not any other printer in the building. And there's a couple important things I need to make sure that happens. So right now it looks like my landscape icon is selected, but my paper is not showing up as landscape. Sometimes if you click over to the portrait and then back to landscape, the preview actually shows up correctly. So that's what you should see. When you scroll down here, you also want to add corner crop marks. This will help if you have a white background to be able to know where the corner of your image is. Then you're going to select Print. Once you've selected Print, Before you close this document, you also want to save it. So File, Save As, and go ahead and put it in your number drive or in wherever you save your things to make sure that you can reprint it if you ever need to. I also suggest you rename it so you don't have, or you haven't changed your original file, but you have a second one that's filtered, and you can always go back to your first one that's unfiltered and redo the filter if you're not happy with how it looks. And that is the 8 simple steps to using the cutout filter in Photoshop Creative Cloud 2018.